Okay, good afternoon. This is Senate Institutions, and today is still Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. And we have Department of Corrections updates. We have the interim commissioner with us, chief of operations, deputy director of office for professional standards, and a recruitment and retention coordinator. And let us introduce ourselves to you because I don't know everybody yet. And then you can introduce yourselves when you're ready to present. So I'm Wendy Harrison. I'm senator from the Windsor District.
And Rob Plunkett, Bennington District.
Joe Major, Windsor District.
Russ Ingles, Essex District. John Benson, Orange District.
So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is John Murad. I am the interim commissioner for the Vermont Department of Corrections.
And thank you as well. Good afternoon. My name is Travis Denton. I am the chief of operations for the Vermont Department of Corrections.
Right. And are you new in that?
I am new in that position, not in the department. I'm old to the department. Started in '97 and wore the uniform for about 15 years and did all manner of different jobs along the way. But I've been in this role since November.
Okay.
So I feel very new in this role. So hopefully you'll grade me on a curve.
Of course.
We tricked him into taking it, and we are incredibly lucky that he did. And just a real wealth of knowledge and an innovative and outside the box thinker. So we're really grateful for the fact that Chief Denton took this role.
Thank you.
Thank you as well. So I think I'm leading off if we're ready to look at the beginning of the slides.
Yep, and they're up there. So we're
Okay,
good.
so let me make sure I'm in the same spot. So as you can see, a lot of this is self-evident. This is just, you know, the department's made up of people, and these are our people, and we've broken down over a couple different glances. One that I particularly am drawn to is our staff age demographics, and you know, we have very diverse from a generational aspect team, right? And we can leverage those differences, I think, with that multi-generational team. But we also have broken down by race and by gender as well.
So before you go forward, please, I just can't read it from here, so I want to get it on my laptop.
Okay.
One thing I would note too is that the staff board is publicly available on our website. So we can also send you the link so you can have it up too.
Okay. Yeah, no, I can find it. It just will take me a minute.
So this isn't the PowerPoint here. This is actually the website.
No, it's PowerPoint.
This is the PowerPoint.
It's a screenshot though.
That's what.
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff in the down the right bottom.
I mean, I could read through that for you if that would be helpful.
Sure.
Yeah, so this is for all work locations. The vast majority of DOC staff do identify as white. For facility and field locations, the majority of DOC staff are male. For central office and other, just over half of the staff are female. For central office and other locations, almost half of DOC staff are part of the Gen X generation, with the remaining half being largely made up of the millennial generation. Proud Gen Xer here.
Okay.
Tell by my squinting eyes. For field locations, almost half of the DOC staff are part of the millennial generation, followed by a majority of Gen X. And similarly, for facility locations, the majority of staff are millennials, followed by Gen X and Gen Z generations.
All right. So, and how is that versus the folks who are incarcerated? Are the demographics similar?
It's a great question. Not one that I have my fingertip on that data for, but I'm sure we could get that.
We do have that data available. It's also usually publicly available on our website. We're having some issues right now, but we can certainly do a comparison if that would be helpful.
I mean, I would think that would be helpful to for you to know that. And I do have it now, so I'm good.
Okay,
Thank
great. Good, because I was squinting my eyes. Ready to move forward? No, still. Okay, good. So again, great slides. Thanks, Haley. These are self-evident as well. What this paints a picture of is our vacancy trend over the last around 6 years. You'll see the high point there. That is the kind of the peak of COVID running into the post-COVID endemic operations, the kind of the gear back up to corrections, if you will, for a period of time there. Department of Corrections and correctional officers really became the department of COVID management, and we were junior epidemiologists. There was a wealth of staff who had been in our department for brand new for 2 years and maybe had never even done a normal supervising a recreation period, because of the way operations were then. That represents the peak of our staffing woes. But one thing that we've noted before in other instances over the years is what COVID did and what that trend did is make us acute of a bit of a boiling of the frog that was happening, that our staffing crisis was really starting before even 2019. I want to say it was 2015 when we just didn't feel it, because you kind of make small adjustments as you go, and you don't feel it from a statewide. Maybe in your site you're doing better than the other site. The acute pressures of COVID, the amount of people that left, the reduced operations handled those vacancies, the reopening of operations, we were like, oh, that, ouch. And we've been kind of responding to that. You'll hear more later from our folks at OPSC about the efforts of recruitment and retention to turn that train around, which as of this, I think this is accurate as of December. Staff-wide 12.2, that's, kind of striking distance to the old headache, which was a good headache as it turns out, but a far bit better than where we were.
And what's your goal?
Well, 0, of course.
Is it?
Can we get better than 0? I don't know. I think that our goal would be fully staffed facilities, where mandatory overtime was sought instead of and not a painful. It's hard to put that in a number. It's a different number in every place. Staff who are well rested, who want to show up for work, do the job, and that is, everything that we do runs on our staff. So everything we can do to make a well-run facility really relies on those places being staffed and supporting those folks.
That's a good definition.
More staff equals more programming, and it equals the ability to move people within the facilities more easily, so that you can take them from one place where they're, say, in their cell block, in their actual cells, to locations like classrooms or to the library. It allows them, the people who are in our custody, to be able to be a little bit more free within the custody as well. So it really is something that we look for.
The only thing I would add to, not to belabor the point too much, but from a staff wellness and from a retention standpoint, the better staff we are, when I joined the state many years ago, it was like my dad, they got good benefits. You're going to get some days off. And the better we are with staffing, the more we can continue to be that employer of preference and really support our staff to have a good work-life balance. This next vacancy trend is focused on the uniform staff, facility staff rather, which is primarily uniform staff. The reason why we pull that out from all the rest of the data is, just to be frank, the facilities are where a vacancy in a facility is a different beast, if you will. If you have a vacancy at a probation parole office or even at a central office, first, there's not usually that many of them. Second, you have plenty of applicants and they're sought after. And third, those are not really typically the 24/7 parts of our operation. A facility vacancy is a killer style vacancy. There are many of those posts we just can't go without. So when it's a 24/7 post that there's a vacancy, there's a different pain point, a different, I think, severity and importance put on those vacancies. And we wanted to be transparent and be able to show that this is the tough work. It's honorable work. It is but it is tough work. And so for the folks that are doing that, they're feeling a greater, if they see 12%, this is currently we're at 15.5% of those rates, which is still, you might see from the trend line there, we were as high as 30% vacancies during in this area at the height of COVID. So again, not as low as we were for the old pre-COVID problem that we didn't know was a problem, but we're on our way.
That's not to say that we don't have work to do. Our facility at Northern, for example, is almost where where the entire department was at its worst. Northern is close to that right now. So this is an aggregate picture. We have specific facilities that are doing better and some that are unfortunately not doing as well.
Yes.
You just answered this a little bit because you mentioned that this is 15 in the facilities, 15.5 for everybody, but you mentioned uniform. So what are the different sort of positions that?
Sure, I can give you a quick
facility
rundown.
and There are like a difference in percentage. I think we just heard a little bit of that.
Very small percentage within the facilities of non-uniform staff that would represent folks like caseworkers,
Yeah.
administrative staff, are their facility management team, so the superintendent, assistant superintendent, other support people like volunteer service coordinators and recreation coordinators. And those numbers of those staff are pretty much the same. If you're in a small facility like Marble Valley, you're gonna have about the same number of admin, about the same number of management team. Or Northern, maybe a few extras of those, but very close. The number of the uniform staff is based on the facility layout, what it takes to have a 24/7 operation that has this many units designed in this many areas, how many different floats, how many different shifts. And then, of course, the leave replacement in order to, and those were for the way it was built. What we also now have, which is underneath this vacancy problem, is a new world and new pressures on corrections. When it comes to things like our population is sicker than they've ever been. We have more hospital ER trips, more hospitalizations, more, in trying to improve the healthcare that we have. That means more doctor's appointments. We have a sicker population that comes to us right in the door. First day, first hour. It's maybe the first time they've talked to a medical person in years, and they're getting some of their chronic illnesses or substance use issues dealt with for the first time. So whenever we send out an ambulance, for example, that's the same amount of staffing as it takes to open a unit for that day, sometimes 2 units for that day if you have to put 2 people on that. And these buildings and these staffing allocations were never kind of built for that. That wasn't how it was back then. It's how it is now, and it kind of emerged during COVID. I don't have a great reason why COVID was the big change, but that's when we really started to notice this uptick.
For that number, do you have a breakdown by position and also by facility?
Not with me. I mean, certainly we do that. We have allocations for each facility by facility and by rank. We have CO1 rank, CO2 rank, shift supervisor rank, our uniform staff. And then of course there's what we call the SOS or in our parlance, the chief of security locally, which is a security operations supervisor. That is it's an administrative position, but is the highest ranked uniform staff in every facility.
You mentioned their ranks, it's CO1 higher or lower.
CO1 would be your initial rank,
Okay.
and then CO2 would be maybe similar to a lieutenant or a sergeant, and then the shift supervisor would be would definitely be like a lieutenant now, and then the SOS would be like a captain.
We don't have that breakdown here.
I don't have that within by rank, but it certainly would be a huge lift for us to get that back to this committee, I think.
Okay, yes, please.
Okay. Moving on, I suppose, any other questions? Great. All right, more graphs. This one also pretty self-explanatory. Turnover, it happens. What this job is our job, like we don't hide it. It is rewarding. It's been a great job for me in my life, and I know many people who feel the same way. It's not for everybody, but what we like to see is that this trend is going in, while small, is going in the right area here in 2025. Again, you see a spike in 2022, and you see it kind of as high as it is now, maybe even a little higher in the years before COVID. So it was, again, we were less aware of like the staffing problem then, and our approach was completely different. Again, something you're going to hear about from our friends at OPSC, because we've really formalized our recruitment and retention efforts, professionalized it. Had we had those type of efforts back in say 2015, who knows where we'd be, because it's really the factoid little story for me. I started in 1997. There was no wellness. There was no peer support. I went back to my shift with, blood on my sleeve and OC spray dried on the side of my face. It was a different era, and it's a better era.
I'm sorry, what's spread on the side?
OC, pepper spray.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not saying that was every day, but those are it's a tough job, and there's situational slow drip trauma, just like any of these tough jobs. And other than, you know, if you're lucky enough to have a good mentor that you met along the way, kind of that person that took you under the wing, that was about all the help you got when I started. So what we do now as a profession is leaps and bounds above what we used to do. And it really is in service to keeping these turnover numbers down.
So do you have a sense of what happened in 2024? Because that was a jump on the other slide too.
Well, that's a big year. Like, I'll tell you, I'm so busy. I have a hard time remembering what I did yesterday. So I will tell you anecdotally, you know, that was a challenging year. These trends are never a straight line. There's fits and starts to all of the different staffing problems as we try to work our way through it and implement different, whether it was implementation of different SOPs to relieve staffing through scheduling, or if there was positive attrition we had to create what we think was a real fix to many of the problems in our system with our centralized operations division. But that did pull initially from the facilities. So that may have been a slight kind of dip in our in some of that turnover.
So do you do exit interviews?
We do offer exit interviews. Of course, they're not mandatory. We do try to chase them down, offer them, and inquire about those. And again, I think that's something that Tanya and her shop could talk about more in length when they're here. Great. This is an interesting slide. And you know, you'll find me nestled in there in the 159 category of 20 years up. But
I'm in the first one.
as it turns out, we're close in age. So, you know, this is not indicative of the people and what they look like as much as their time in this profession. I think what this is evidence of is, again, what we're really good at is recruitment. We've gotten awesome at it. And again, through the efforts, strategic efforts of forming these facility staff experience supervisors and having the Office of Professional Standards and Compliance really spearhead some of our approaches to this. We're bringing in a lot of people, and then we're doing our best to keep them, right? And that's the thing, is can we keep you past the academy in 3 months? Can we keep you 3 months to 5 months? Can we get you into that 12-month and up category? The longer we get people, the more they start. Everybody's got a different sweet spot of when this job is right for you, right? I had my own. I was a single dad. I was trying, I had my own motivators to get me to go and show up when it was hard and drive through the snow and all that. People have different motivators, but by the time you get to that first year, you've gotten 3 raises just through time. And then the other thing that we're seeing in this less than 5-year category that was just never happened when I was an officer, you can make that CO2, that next rank, in 18 months, and that happens. You can make that shift supervisor in 2 years, and that happens. I was competing. I was from an era where if you retired as a CO2 or a shift supervisor, that was a career well spent. Like, you were lucky to get off of 3rd shift, after 7 years, or get a weekend, like every weekend off. Was a tough. That was the promised land. That we have so much more opportunity for advancement and growth for newer staff than we ever did before, and I think that's a part of that less than 5-year number kind of staying in there. And I also think the dip out of those other numbers in COVID, we lost the middle, right? We lost a lot of really good staff, talented staff who had been doing real, corrections. And they're at that 5 to 10 year mark. And it was a hard time to be a correctional officer. And they just said, thanks, but no thanks. I'm not so close to retirement that I want to stick it out through this. And I'm not so far up in the pay scale that I can't maybe replace this job. And with COVID and those operations being back to normal, it's just going to take time to do this again. And I think we're working on that. I think that's it for me. And so I'm happy to give up my seat for what he's got.
We had a recent academy graduation on Friday, so we are moving through with new recruits at all stages. And one of the things that I said to them at that point was the fact that there aren't a lot of people that can do this work, right? You have to be a special kind of person. You have to be courageous, and you have to be compassionate, and you have to be careful. And we're really lucky to get the folks that we do. Our challenge right now is maintaining them and keeping them. We want that, half of our people have more than 5 years. We would really love it if that ratio were a little bit different. So we are doing what we can, and I think that we'll learn a lot about the successes that we've had with the recruitment part.
Right, so if you'll just say your name and your position before you give your testimony, please.
Tanya Barber, I'm the Deputy Director of our Office of Professional Standard and Compliance, and I oversee the recruitment of the retention team, which includes peer support and also our Community College of Vermont collaboration.
Thank you, Alex.
Steve Bellata, acting as supervisor recruitment retention team for Tanya. As a coordinator and a supervisor, manage the team and help, background investigations, get these folks, facilities, looking to hire, cleared and ready to go.
Great. So proceed,
Okay,
please.
so I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a background about what we do. We have myself, Steve, who is our interim supervisor. He has 3 coordinators who work for him, recruitment and retention coordinators. We have 1 peer support coordinator, and we currently have 1 CCV liaison who helps the staff with their community college connection. That's what I ran as. And so we, what we do is we support our facilities, our field, and our central office staff as far as recruitment goes, and retention. We help facilitate the postings of our jobs, and try to keep up with what that is. The Indeed, where we post jobs, Indeed Handshake. We have a collaborative relationship with Department of Labor, their job links. We also have a partnership with Vermont Prime, which is the National Guard. We also use targeted publications when we have a specific position that might be, currently we're now looking for I have to forget the name of it,
Executive Director of Policy and Strategic Initiatives.
which is not something that, it's a unique position. So we kind of go outside. We have posted on places like the National Institution of Corrections or the Associated Women's for Executive Corrections, all over nationwide. So we can kind of get that nationwide to bring in some applicants other than just a regular Indeed. So we're able to, they'll contact us, say, hey, we've got this position we want to post, and we'll do kind of the legwork on where to get that done and help them facilitate that.
That position was Isaac Daniels' role. So
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's a
Well, I'm sure if anyone
Why do we need that? Yeah.
We do need it.
Yes.
Haley is filling in it right now, and it's awesome at that.
Great
But,
job.
we definitely,
It's a lot.
Isaac was great.
And I always refer to as Isaac's position, and I
Yeah.
try to get him that habit, but
Yeah.
it's a long name. So,
So
thank you.
you mentioned the CCV.
Yes.
So it's a grant, Lee, it's something ending?
Yes, and I will get to that, but we
Oh,
we had a 3-year grant with CCV, which provided free community college classes to our staff and their dependent family members, which has been a phenomenal tool for us as far as recruitment and retention, because it provides staff with 2 classes a semester, free, includes everything, and they get the support from our collaborative staff that we have, and a lot of staff have been taking advantage of that, and their family members, their dependents. But the grant is ending, unfortunately, for staff. And so that's something that we're working on messaging, because it ends in August of this year. Are you advocating to continue? Oh, we've been advocating.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have been working with CCD as well, because it's a great collaboration. They also do some teaching and instructing at our academy during the cadets go through a 6-week academy, and CCB is partnered with us, which when they leave that academy, they get 6 college credits. That will remain in place. That's not part of the grant, but that relationship is going to continue, which is great, because it's also a recruitment tool. Say, hey, you're going to get 5 credits once you leave that 6-week academy.
President Judy and Senator Sanders are really invested in
Yes.
this program.
Yeah.
And so we're incredibly grateful for their partnership. But I do think that it is Right now, it seems as if there is more potential for new grants based on our incarcerated population than for our staff.
Hmm.
And I wish that weren't so, but I think it's a little bit easier to say, hey, let's do this very important and good thing for incarcerated people than it is to get momentum to say, let's do some great things also for those who have custody and care and watch over those incarcerated people. I'm hopeful that we can find new options for that. I know that President Judy's team is looking into that. I believe the senator's team is as well. But that's currently where we stand. I think we're confident that the ability to continue the program inside the facilities will find a way to do that, or our partners will find a way to do that. How do we maintain that for our staff?
Right. And a few of us were in Southern about a year ago, I think, and we heard about that program, and I had the impression that it was staff and incarcerated people.
Yeah.
It is.
Because that seems like the best.
They're not together. They don't take the classes together.
Oh, we'll see.
So what this allows is staff members and their dependents to take CCV classes wherever they're offered, whether that's online or whether that's in
okay.
facilities. But they take their classes in the outside world, as it were. And the people in our custody take classes with instructors who come into the facilities or electronically into facilities, but mostly in person, and do that work.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so that has been a great benefit to staff, and it's been a really great recruiting tool when we're out there looking if it's something we can say, hey, look, we've got this. So we're working out messaging that and how we can offer some alternative options to that benefit. But
Thanks. Let's talk to the commission a little bit. I'm working with Bennington College to possibly do something with them. They do something with New York, so we may be able to split with the incarcerated, we may be able to expand it to a local compromise concerning that.
that'd be wonderful. We do have a partnership with Springfield College
Yeah.
that offers a certain amount per staff member. And so we're also trying to promote that as well, just because we don't want staff to feel like they're losing that CCB benefit. So we're working with our partners, CCB, the financial aid folks. How can we, even though, you might be in a degree program, it's going away, cost is now going to be on you. So we're trying to message this and provide some other options for staff, because we know that has been a really good benefit to retaining staff. So each facility has a facility staff experience supervisor, and that person is tasked with specifically handling their hiring and managing those cadets in the first, interviews, things like that when they first come in the door. So this has been established.
They've been in for a few years now, but officially it's been roughly 2 years.
And so that has really helped us, because that gives each facility a point person that my team can collaborate with directly and say, what do you need? What can we do for you? We go to facilities, we support them with their recruiting efforts. And that gives someone in each facility, that's our main job, is to focus on recruitment, retention, dealing with that first 6 months when that person is hired. We know we've got to maintain them for 6 months, and that gives that one person that can really help to make that connection and, hey, something going on, what can I help you with, kind of thing. So that's been really helpful.
That includes social media presence as well. The FSES, for example, at Northwest, our facility in Swanton, does a really terrific job. Many of them do. I'm just singling him out at this moment, but does a really terrific job of posting photographs and for example, a photograph of the recruits who were specific to Northwest, graduated on Friday, and social media posts about that, social media posts about good work that's done within the facilities, volunteer efforts, etc. So these roles are not only important for the recruiting, they're important for the retention in creating an internal narrative of solidarity and a sense that the department cares about good deeds and good work, but also an external narrative for the sense of saying, hey, our people, they don't just sit and guard. There's other things that they do.
Okay, thank you.
So that kind of touched on the social media piece, and that, we have tried to change with the new generation that we are hiring in social media, things like YouTube, things like that. We're trying to get into those things to help with recruiting. It also helps nationwide, because obviously you've got folks all over on social media. So it does limit us to local advertising or recruiting. We've also been connected with a lot of local schools and tech centers to delivering some of our education to them. We've even been to the Linden Institute. We've done some of our ACT instruction, modified version to the staff there, which they really appreciated. There's been some talk about following up with students. So we're really in our community level is trying to get corrections out there to establish those relationships, entice younger folks for employment if it's something that they're looking for, and to get our name out there. So we do collaborate with one of our local tech centers and schools, which has been great. Let's see. Our vision and mission is promoted through our college and university partnerships. The career paths present internship opportunities and recruiting staff. We do have quite a few interns from Norwich to UVM. We get a variety of kind of ebbs and flows, but that is definitely something that we encourage folks, and we do have a connection with colleges to. We can add any number of interns at any time, any from our central office to our sites, whichever their interest is.
Could you have, in just one second, medical interns? Just because I know.
Medical does have internships through like Vermont State University, typically for like Chittenden. I used as a volunteer service coordinator past. We would have a lot of medical students out there, and they would do almost like, so they didn't really consider it internship. It was almost like a little bit of a reassignment, and then go work out of there and get a feel for medical profession in a correctional facility, and then go through all the same contractor volunteer training to make sure that they're security trained and, you know, emergency awareness and things like that. So I don't know if it's everywhere that does that. I think it's typically for areas that have colleges and schools that specialize in the medical profession. So like UVM, Vermont State University, things like that. So
Thank you. So,
Do we know the success rate from intern to staff?
I don't have that data actually.
Great question. I mean, anecdotally, I can tell you that I'd be surprised if in this room we didn't have so many, but I work with folks who in every office, the PNP offices especially, have a great connection with the colleges and with their local law enforcement, their local PDs. And a lot of those criminal justice or social work interns will gravitate towards those areas.
Yep.
And so, you know, I can, right off the top of my head, the current manager of Middlebury PNP started as an intern, and, you know, and then she became an intern supervisor of an intern. And so we've got generational interns that turn into correctional officers or into other correctional staff. It does happen.
The criminal justice programs in a lot of the schools, I know, when I was in the Barry office, we had Norwich because they had a criminal justice program. And so we do get a lot of interest in the criminal justice programs for interns. It's good.
great.
Let's see, our career fairs and community events. This is something that we try to, and of course, we have 6 facilities around the state, and we really try to be a presence out in the community to any school, college that is running a career fair. We have a connection with, Steve has a connection with, and they'll say, hey, we've got one coming up. We'll run a table. We let the local facilities know if they want to set up a table for their facility, or we'll do it and run the table so we can, you know, we may not get a lot of applicants out of that, but it's our name out there. It's our face out there. We have peer support come, we have our college folks come and stand with us just to say we offer a lot. It's not just a correctional career, but look at everything else that we do offer, because there is so much opportunity and there's so much more, and it's you need to get that message out. So that's what my team works really hard to do. In fact, a lot of Franklin Foods, you may have heard recently in the news, and Enosburg is closing down. So that's one of the things where we'll look at that community partner and say, hey, and Steve just spoke to them today, I think, and said, hey, what can we do for you? You know, we have this opportunity. We can set up a career fair. You know, what does your human resources look like? We know you're going to be laying off some folks. We were in New York a year or two ago when they had a correctional facility close. Say, hey, what can we do for you? Are there local facilities that people might want to travel to? So we're definitely trying to make that connection and keep our eye on what's going on around us so we can help our current residents if they're looking for work and to bring folks in.
we do have a number of staff come from your corrections to Vermont during that
From New York,
from New York, yeah.
and then New Hampshire has a lot of jails, actually, pretty big jails.
Yeah.
Too.
We've received some of their staff, conversely, for whatever the reason is. They're relocating their family here, so we've done a lot of communicating, more so in like, the Grafton County area, in kind of close to St. John's there and stuff like that, but.
We've also had some conversations about across the border in Canada. There's a little bit of different, working through that program is a little bit different to try to get those folks working over here, but that's definitely something we're exploring, we're heading to explore just because, it's not like we've got 5,000 people a year moving to Vermont that's looking for work. So we're really trying to, utilize what we have here and what we can to get recruit folks. We do a lot, again, the community thing is huge for us. We try to partner a lot. There's if you ever heard of trunk or treats, a lot of local communities have pop open their trunk. They'll have Halloween, we'll open a trunk and display Vermont Department of Corrections and hand out candy and get our name out there. They do it in a lot of communities. And so we anytime there's one where, hey, let's get a team up there, hand out candy to the kids and gets us some more exposure. Yeah, that's just again, public image, collaborate, the local Department of Labor is huge. So we've even done, I think Steve has done boots on the ground up in Newport, walking door to door, meeting with the Department of Labor, handing out flyers. What can we do? How can we collaborate? Trying to fill some of those vacancies just to make sure that people know we're there. And again, we have a contract with WCIX. May have seen our corrections minutes before, so we also use that as well. Professional development opportunities. We also work with our academy as far as training goals, working on professional development series, including our core strengths, excellence in supervision, emotional intelligence, performance management, interviews, and evaluation training. This is all working towards retention and working towards growth, development, and improving our staff and giving them something to look forward to. There's a lot of opportunity in our department. And so the more we can develop staff and also benefits our incarcerated, the more trained and developed staff that we have, I think the better it is for our incarcerated. So we have a lot of opportunity within our Office of Professional Standard and Compliance, which includes our training component. And we've worked to develop these programs, which with a lot of interest in some staff. So, again, we have our post-secondary education, the CCV grants, which we've talked about already. We have the Springfield College, which I mentioned. We also have a mentorship program in place now where you can call me up and say, hey, I'm looking for a mentor, and I match with the right person, what they're looking for, give them a support person, someone they can talk to, work through things with, and really help with that professional growth as well. That's been a very popular program. That's really grown. We started out with just women, actually, just a women's mentorship program. Corrections is a tough place for women, and so we started out with women, then we just expanded it because we found so much interest in it. Not only does it help the staff, that the mentees, but it also is an opportunity for girls to mentor as well. So I've had a lot of interest from both staff. We have a women's leadership initiative that we've established, which is a group of women leaders that we brought together, and we've been through some trainings, and we're now working on bringing on the next level of women leaders and providing support, mentorship, coaching, which has been really well received, and a lot of department staff. And it's also a great retention and recruitment tool. So just providing that support for women. It is a tough career, and there are not a lot of women, especially in the facility. So this has been a great opportunity for us to help support women. Training development program, subject matter experts in 12 training topics. I don't know if you want to talk about that. I don't.
So that's just really just getting all the interested people, current people, recertifying trainers and instructors for all the core competencies, down to things that are just, wellness things like traumatic stress management and things like that. Making sure that, people who have the lived experience in the facilities, who are senior staff members, the mentors, people that younger staff, younger generation staff can look up to, are the ones kind of leading the trainings and continuing with that knowledge transfer from, each, officer generation to the next. to make sure.
There's a lot of our team that are trainers, that they've all been through the training, so they'll be, you'll see the recruitment and retention coordinators at the academy presenting a training or going to facilities, so we're not just recruitment coordinators, we're actually part of the training process too, and so that helps too. They're just recruiting, but they're also part of that team, and they also do a lot of overtime in the facilities too, so keeps them connected.
His whole team came from the facility. So all of us, one person on the team I even hired at the facility I was at when I was supervisor. So it's just kind of, it's that knowledge transfer. It's promoting the profession and being those leaders and those mentors, even, unofficially, just knowing that these new staff members need a little bit more support coming into a hectic and chaotic environment, and being that stability for them to say, well, maybe I want to keep doing this, or maybe I don't want to keep doing this, but at least I had a fair chance at it.
I would just support what these guys are saying about that trainer opportunity, because historically, that's been the thing that I think in those early stages of your career, when the promotions aren't there, but you still have that energy and you want to keep building your career, and maybe you don't have the background, the resume, you can build that resume within your job. And becoming a trainer that goes and helps at the academy was such a great first step to identify emerging leaders, to develop as an emerging leader, to get outside of the block, to get outside of your normal role. And it was always a good recharge. It's been historically, I think, one of the strongest retention tools of really good quality staff in those first couple of years, because you maybe didn't have the time yet to get that to qualify for that next rank. But you sure as heck could be a really good trainer and go help out the academy. And that's what kind of set you on your course. It set many of us, myself included, on our course, starting off as those trainers of these core competencies.
It definitely helps with the retained staff. It helps with the self-esteem and the confidence and the, go on trainer, I'm gonna get called for this if I get to train that. So, and it keeps up their learning, because we're constantly learning. So that's like, and measuring retention, we talked a little bit earlier about exit surveys. We do exit surveys. Anyone who gives their notice, they're immediately sent a notice and request to do an exit interview. Again, it's not mandatory, we can't make them, so it really relies on their responding to us, and then they have an option whether they want to talk to HR or whether they want to talk to someone on my team, male, female, they have their option who they want to talk to get their feedback, so we can take that information back. And
Do you get that many of them?
it depends. I think people, depending on why they left, some are, I don't know, I think we have these data on how many compared to how many leave and how many opt into.
We might have it, but I'm not
I
sure.
think
Yeah.
it's somewhere on the dashboard, but it's definitely not as, the number isn't as high as the number.
We would like to
people
see
who
more.
left.
Right.
And I think that's just. If they left, for whatever reason that they left, they're leaving behind them. And it's not something that they want to revisit or really have any interest in continuing thought through, so.
But we get some, just that's how we learn and grow, is by
Right,
hearing the
right.
feedback. So we really try to encourage, and if we see that someone was leaving and they didn't get that, then we are like, hey, you need to make sure that they get the exit interview, because they need to, they need an option, an opportunity to respond if they want to, so we can take that information as our information.
It's confidential, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And people have followed through with it, or, they said that they were skeptical and they were happy that they went through with it.
Okay.
So kind of wellness, again, we talked a little bit about our peer support team. We have a peer support coordinator who works for our division. She oversees peer support members, which are actual staff around the state. They have full-time jobs, but they're also a member of the peer support team. They respond to, there's an incident, whether it's assault, staff assault, a death, whether it be incarcerated or a staff, or any type of incident that someone might say, you might want to get peer support here because we could really use the support. They are overseen by a clinician who trains them in a specific training. So they do have that support, and we also have that clinician available if staff do need it. And that's been really well received. They do a little piece at the academy for the cadets to introduce the program. The members are so dedicated and they're so into supporting their staff that each facility has members and they're always doing something in support of staff. We just had a hot cocoa bar set up by the members and it's all on their own, their own. They're part of this team, but they're like, so they have full-time jobs. So this is just sort of a side gig that they do in support of their fellow staff. So that's really been well received and helpful to staff. Again, we have the clinician, we do wellness challenges that's managed by OPSC to try to get staff, talking about health and wellness, because again, healthy staff means we're healthy incarcerated and better for our system. We have a family support group that is run by families. We just kind of like, if they need anything from us, because we try to stay out of it, but it's consists of members of our employees' families that help support each other. They have a Q&A with DOC leadership at each graduation. They set up some time aside if family or cadets have questions they want to talk to leadership about, is where everyone is there. Travis and the commissioner, they have an opportunity there to ask questions if they want to. So that's been helpful. We have a reward and recognition committee that each year they put on a big lunch and they recognize staff for anything from a heroic event. We've had people pull over on the side of the road and help save, change a tire or things like that. And we do recognize staff for those kinds of things, whichever it may be. And so we have recognition of that. We have recognition of 20 years, 30 years of service. Anything that falls under that team, they certainly recognize staff because that's also another part of retention. Appreciate our staff for what they do. Wellness related trainings, trauma stress management, suicide prevention, CPR, all those things that we offer staff to again help with the retention. And we know that this is a tough job, and providing the support to that wellness of staff is going to be a benefit to not only us and their coworkers, but also the incarcerated. Implementing wellness specialists. Oh, so this is something that I've been working on for about 2 years now, building a program for having a wellness specialist that has a comfort canine that would be able to go into facilities, go into field staff, and just provide that emotional support of a canine. So we built that program and we're just waiting on next steps to hopefully implement that one day, because we feel like that would be for staff, not the incarcerated, because we want to make sure the staff aren't feeling like the incarcerated might be getting something that they're not, or having the opportunity to, this is for staff. And so we've created that program, and as I said, we're just waiting on next steps on that, because it is a position, and the canine is, you've got to get the dog and the training and all those things that go with that. So that's something we're really excited about, hoping that can join our team in the future. And then we have the staff wellness committee, which is, it started at Commissioner's Wellness under Commissioner Demmel. That committee is still working and active. And again, it's a separate place where staff can go and they can do things for staff. They were working on wellness rooms and facilities for staff, kind of a chill out chair, things like that. So they're run by consists of a team of staff members. That work on it. Anything else? Any questions?
So we're good. Thank you. Thanks for your work. All right.
Yes.
For the record, my name is Haley Summer. I'm the Director of Communications for DOC. I'm here to speak very, very high level about our health services contract. So I don't know the extent of information that you're hoping to hear, but hopefully I can answer most of your questions. And then whatever I don't have available to me right now, we can certainly follow up on. All right. So we're going to start with some population statistics just on the health of our population, so that you have an idea as to the folks that we're providing care to. Around 95% of the population is receiving medication. The average number of medications per individual is around 5, so quite a high number. And 42% of our population is receiving psychotropic medications, with 56% of our population receiving medication for opioid use disorder. In terms of the health trends, 77% of our population is diagnosed with a chronic illness. 756 emergency department visits were facilitated last year in 2025, and around 12% of our population is considered geriatric.
What do you consider a chronic illness?
Anything like someone who has hypertension, diabetes, things of that nature.
Severe asthma.
Okay. And, 56 from will use disorder.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing I would add with regards to the geriatric population is that in incarcerated and correctional facility, the age to be considered geriatric is 55, which is 10 years younger than the age for someone to be considered geriatric in the community. So that number is 65, and that's just because of the infrastructure of the correctional facilities really does age individuals. It's not easy to be in such a concrete and hard space every day for a significant number of years.
That's notable.
And the geriatric population has increased pretty significantly since the early 2000s. So we do have a unit at Southern State Correctional Facility that houses most of the population with really complex medical needs or that are considered geriatric and need some extra assistance. So for our healthcare contract, we contract with the company WellPath to provide comprehensive health services in our correctional facilities. The contract began July 1st, 2023, and it's a 3-year contract. So it is entering nearly the end of the contract period. There is the opportunity for 2 optional, I believe 1-year extensions. And the way that the contract was structured, it was set using the National Commission on Correctional Healthcare Standards, as well as Vermont standards and the Vermont community of care that we consider for individuals who are living in our communities and not correctional facilities. We also partner with other departments and the Agency of Human Services when we were developing the contract with WellPath.
So how are you determining how well WellPath is doing its job?
Yeah, that's a good question. There are various performance measures that are actually outlined in the contract, which is a public document, so we can certainly send it to you. We use those measures to tell how well that they're doing, and if they do not meet those measures, there are also provisions that speak to what the consequences may be in those cases.
So have you had the situation where they weren't doing what they were supposed to?
Not that met a level of consequences under the contract. So one of the ways in which we would be able to hold them accountable for not meeting that level of care is by withholding payments, which we have not had to do for that reason.
Okay. So the contract, so are you looking at re-upping the contract or extending the contract? I mean, you need to do that pretty soon. If
Yes.
you're gonna do it.
I don't know that I can speak to the contract process while it's still underway. But DOC has not released an RFP for a new health contract.
Yeah, so that's something that I think we should learn more about because I hear different things. Or I hear concerns, but then I also hear people who are satisfied. So I'd be interested to know how the department is determining that. Because it is a very expensive contract, as you know.
It is. It's also a very narrow market within our with our purchasing power, based on our size and scale puts us in a different position than many other places with regard to looking at other options. So
Okay.
Yeah. And I know that this body too is also considered.
Can you be specific in what you meant by that as well, the narrow market?
I mean that there are not a ton of companies that provide this kind of healthcare in the marketplace that also will be looking at a place of our scope and scale. We don't know how many there are. As Haley mentioned, there is no current RFP out there. But WellPath is the sort of successor to a previous company that no longer exists. And they have in many ways been good partners for us. Do we want to make certain that we are keeping them honest and also getting what we need from them? Absolutely, we do. And as with any partnership, there are things that we think are really going well and things that we would like to hone. But that's what I meant with regard to my statement, Senator, was the notion of our size puts us in a different place than, say, an entity like California, at the absolute opposite end of the scale as far as what it could or could not control for bids.
And I would suspect that Well Path is in multi-states.
Yes.
Yes.
I know that this body has also had conversations around what it would look like to potentially bring the healthcare in-house, so have it state run. There are a few states that do this. It's not entirely common. The last time that we ran the fiscal analysis, which was around 2 years ago, we found that it would cost around 3 times as much to provide the healthcare in-house. Nevertheless, hiring the staff to do so. We've also had conversations with UVM around potentially partnering with them, and that was not an option. So there are very little options for this type of correctional facilities.
So they've reduced their fees.
That much.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would note too is that the contract covers essentially everything up to a hospital level care of medical care. So there's a clinic, there's infirmary level care, as well as mental health services, medications, dental, and then on-site and off-site specialty visits.
So dental, right, I have heard a few problems with dental, because dental's only in certain facilities, right?
Yeah, WellPath could speak to this better than I can, but I know that they had some really significant challenges hiring dentists for correctional facilities. And so essentially they were using a regional model where dentists would either be kind of split between 2 facilities, or at times individuals were being transferred to a different facility for their dental appointments.
Yeah, that's what I heard about, and it wasn't helpful. It wasn't good.
We do have data on the dental backlogs, which I think we provided to you in the fall after a joint justice oversight committee hearing. We could certainly provide that information if it would be helpful, as the backlog has decreased significantly since we were able to bring some more folks on board.
An update of the information
Yeah,
is what you're saying,
we
not the previous.
Yeah, I think
information.
the data we provided was maybe in September, October, so we could certainly update it and provide it again. And then the other thing I wanted to touch upon, as it is a really significant lift for our team and a really significant initiative that we have going on, is the 1115 waiver, so the Medicaid reentry project. Essentially what this means is that for individuals who are incarcerated, they're eligible to have their Medicaid turned on 90 days before their planned release date. That is one piece of the program. And then the second piece of the program is receiving comprehensive reentry services from the Vermont Chronic Care Initiative, which is an initiative under the Agency of Human Services.
So this is proceeding, you are.
Yeah, sorry, the waiver went live on January 1st, so we're still in the very kind of early stages of implementing it and getting the first kind of few folks re-enrolled in Medicaid. And we've been working really closely with the Vermont Chronic Care Initiative to get this online. It's been a lot of little bumps as we learn new things, particularly with the kind of technological side of the program. But it did launch January 1st. And then some of the benefit services under the Medicaid Reentry Project is the Vermont Medicaid Reentry Program, which is facilitated by the Vermont Chronic Care Initiative. We'll have peer support services beginning in 2027. So those are not online yet. And then the medications, to include medication for opioid use disorder, are supplied when someone is being released. And then kind of care coordination when they're released into the community, that's facilitated through the Vermont Chronic Care Initiative. Any questions?
Questions on that?
That is it that we have for the healthcare side, but happy to answer any questions that you do have.
Yeah. I just want to say it's important that if the department wants to was intending to, continue WellPath, that there be a really, evident reason to do that. I think that's important to our constituents and to me personally, and probably, and for those, someone with the committee, maybe all of the.
I was just on the same vein. I mean, WellPath may be the best option, but I just want to make sure that we're exploring, and I'm sure you are. I mean, I don't want to give the notion that I don't think that is happening. But you know, I've been maybe even thinking outside the box of whatever that is. But I just want to make sure that we are exploring all avenues, and and the only reason I'm saying it like this is because our time is very short until the expiration of WellPath. So, I you know, just seeing that for the first time, I am like the Madam Chair, and have a bit concerned.
I will say that our relationship with WellPath has been overwhelmingly positive, and they are very receptive to feedback and open to new initiatives set forth by the department or the administration. And I don't know that WellPath has ever been in front of this committee, but I would certainly invite you to bring in some representatives. I think you would be surprised with the kind of quality of care and the thought that has gone into it.
And I guess that's the other thing, not only the quality of care, which is so vitally important during this time, but the expense of the, as many of you know, that, you know, Vermont has the most expensive healthcare in the country. And that's concerning on a lot of different levels. And it's adding to the expense of our constituents, not only from an education standpoint, but from, we have to take care of our incarcerated as well. So I just want to make sure that we're providing quality care as well as best financially that we possibly can. And WellPath may be it. I mean, like I said, I'm not saying that I know, but I just want to make sure that we've explored every option that we possibly can. You mentioned, you know, UVM, because Springfield Hospital and and Southern States in my district. Is there a possibility of a cooperative like that, or different cooperatives? I don't know. But just and the unfortunate part about it is we have a short window to find that.
Yeah, that's fair. I think you'd be surprised. Sometimes it's challenging finding individuals who are willing to work with a population of this nature.
And I absolutely, I'm sure that's the dental problem that you have as well. So I absolutely understand that. And it, once again, I don't want to do seagull management. If you don't know what seagull management, you swoop in, you shit on it, you swoop out. And I don't want to do that. You know, that's not what we want to do. You know, you are making the sausage. And so we rely on you.
Definitely want to keep seagulls away.
Yes, yeah, that's true. That's very true. We rely on you to give us the information and the best information that you have, and you're the authority. So we will, you know, more often than not, do what you say, but we just need the information.
Yeah, and we have other resources. The PRIN survey is very helpful, and so we can look at that too.
Yeah, there's also a patient satisfaction survey that the DOC's health services team administers every year.
Okay.
The results are made public on our website. I don't know what year that we're currently at, in terms of what results have been made public, but that information is available.
Okay,
And it is a good kind of barometer of patient satisfaction with their medical care.
okay. So that would be helpful if
Yeah,
you
you
could
can send
send that and then send us a trend too, please, if you have, what it was 5 years ago.
Yeah,
It's not done
the
that long.
surveys, I think were implemented first in either 2023 or 2024. So we've only been doing them for a short period.
Okay. It'll be a short line.
Yes.
Hopefully it'll be longer. Okay.
But you know, this was a very high level overview and we could certainly get some folks in from our health services team. I would also recommend bringing in WellPAP if this is a concern of the committee and you're interested in hearing more information from folks who are on the ground.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. All right. This has been very helpful. Any other questions? Thank you all for being here.